Yeah! Yeah!
Geekazine and Geek Smack is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network over at techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I direct your attention to the center screen because here we are at the Geekish Smacks, the Geek Smack. We're gonna smack the geek like we smack trucks on top of each other, like a little Tetris truck action. I don't know. It's kind of weird. We've got a great show for you this week. A little bit slow on the news, but we got some great music. A little bit of country music. As we go through a lot of cool stuff on TechSmack, and we're brought to you this week by our friends over at GoToMeeting. Go and put this into your business toolbox. See see how you can actually do this and meet with HD faces. And I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway, 30-day free trial over at GoToMeeting. I'm going to show you how. Stop dreaming, start streaming. That's the Roku and the Roku 2. Prices as low as $49. Of course, you go over to geekazine.com/Roku to get yourself one of those. Stitcher, over at stitcher.com/geek, you can enter in and win $100 just for downloading some software. That's some great way to listen to shows like Geekazine. And of course, all of this is done on webcast, through Telestream Wirecast. Of course, all the switching back and forth on my Mac. And then once I'm done talking, we can go over to LOL Shirts and find out about cool things like the numerator and denominator. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get started with your Geek Smack this week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm playing with the GarageBand app on my iPad. It's just fun to actually play the little guitar and the piano parts. That's pretty sweet. But I thought I'd do a little bit of country music. If you heard the South by Southwest music for my videos for South by Southwest, that's what I used. This is the song. Let me show you right here. I'm gonna pull up my iPad. I made this song in Portland when I went to the Portland Drive, and I needed an intro for South by Southwest, so I made this song right here. I know that was basic. Sorry. So anyway, get back here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of your cool stuff. Just like I smack out of a Mustang, rubber to the tires, getting my motor running, head out on the highway of Portland, Oregon. Although you can't really go 90 miles an hour on the twisty, turny roads that we were on, and it was great. Oh man, I left Madison. It was 50 degrees. 50 degrees. I was still wearing pants. I was still wearing fleeces. I was still wearing everything else. Then I got to Austin, and it started to rain, and it was raining for 2 days, and it got really, really nice, and we had a nice time at Guero's. That was the first time that South by Southwest really started to kick in, was at Guero's, which is a little taco bar just out of Austin. We did a Chevy event. Chevy Alltop did the event there, but that pretty much signaled when South by Southwest was really ready to kick in, and we had an awesome time. And then I went to Portland and I lost my shoes. They fell apart from the rain because it was raining in Portland. And so I bought some brand new shoes, and we got to drive Ford Tauruses and Ford Flexes and Ford Mustangs, and it was awesome. I still have the Taurus videos to put up, but the Mustang video is up now. You should check it out. I'm getting my motor running, and I'm headed out on the Oregon Highway, the Oregon Trail, with Mike Powell from Techno Buffalo. We paired up, and we got some video. It was great. It was an awesome time, and I hope you take a look at that. That's all over at geekazine.com. How you doing in the meantime? My name is Jeffrey Powers. Of course, if this is the first time that you've come to Geek Smack, thank you very much for coming here. We do this every single Tuesday, with the exception of last Tuesday, which I was sitting in Austin, Texas, doing the South by Southwest thing. And then when I got back here, it was 80 freaking degrees. I mean, who would have guessed that Madison, Wisconsin was the island tropical? I don't know. Anyway, it's still an 80 degrees. I mean, we haven't changed. We haven't gone back to our normals, which is like 50s and 60s, and I don't have a single problem with that. I'm wearing shorts. You can't see that, but I am wearing some shorts today, and it's been a great time. Some other news, you probably remember when we last were left off, Jeff was without a truck, and now Jeff has a truck. I'm driving my truck. Driving my big old truck. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my truck finally came back. All electrical problems are fixed. In fact, the electric doors started working again. The headlights started working. The tail lights started working. I guess it's a safe car now, so I can drive it around. Awesome. Well, until the bill comes in, then we'll worry about that. And so, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the truck is back, and it's a nice day in Madison, Wisconsin. And we've got some Geek Smack for you. So we're going to get it in high gear now as we show you the Tech Smack side of things.
Tech Smack.
And of course, Tech Smack is brought to you by our friends over at GoToMeeting over at GoToMeeting.com. GoToMeeting with HD faces for your Mac, for your PC, for your iPad. Look at this. Here, I'm going to show you right here. GoToMeeting works on this computer, the Mac, this computer, the PC, and this computer, the iPad. With HD faces, you can actually hook up the HD faces and you can run a meeting. Heck, I could run a meeting on all three of these machines just as easily. You set up one machine as the presenter. The iPad cannot be the presenter. It's a small little caveat. But anyway, you set up a presenter. We'll say this, let's say this is the presenter. And then we're given a number. So you say go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You go to GoToMeeting.com and it installs the software on this computer. You download the app from the App Store for this one and even your iPhone, which I don't have in my pocket. And then you can just use the meeting. HD faces, if everybody's got a webcam, you can see what everybody's doing. And you can say, hey, Joe, you look perplexed. What's the problem? This is the problem. Okay, let's get the resolution. Don't take my word for it. Try it yourself. This software is over at GoToMeeting.com. Click that Try It Free Now button right there. Right there. Try it free now and enter in the code PODCAST. Right here, promo code PODCAST. Podcast will get you 30 days of that great software. And, of course, it helps keep the lights on over at Geeksmack.com. And I thank you. I thank you very much for that. Anyway, that's over at GoToMeeting.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into your Tech Smack for today. And we're going to start over at the Washington Post. Apple, record iPad sales. Apple's been, it always happens. Under the spotlight, Apple gets really soaked in the spotlight when they come out with any new device. I remember when it was the 3GS and they had a problem with the 3G chip and they got that fixed. And then the 4 came out and they had problems with the 4 with the screen going yellow, and then they got that fixed. And then now within the 4S, I think there was a problem with the 4S. I don't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a problem with the 4S. And that got fixed. And now the new iPad. And, of course, the big thing is the heat problem. Now, here's what's going on. The iPad, third generation iPad, gets hotter than the iPad 1 or iPad 2. Apparently, it's because of the chip. The processor, I'm just going to touch the microphone this way, quick second, and do this really quick. Hold on. I just realized my levels were pretty down. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, so you had the iPad 1, iPad 2. They were nice and cool. iPad, third generation iPad comes around, and all of a sudden, after a while, you say, hey, this case is a little bit warm. Yeah, it gets up to 13 degrees warmer, 10 degrees warmer if you're just doing some surfing, 13 degrees if you're playing something like a game, something graphic intense. It's because of that A5X chip in there. As far as we know, it's not going to get beyond 13 degrees. It's not going to burn your hand off. Heck, it might even be arthritis pain medication if you've got bad fingers. You're holding that iPad up like that, and it's like stressful, but then the heat's kind of soothing. So, you're going to have good flexibility when it's all said and done. So why are we complaining? Always look on the bright side of the street, I say. Anyway, speaking of which, we've got a great video, and we're going to show you. I'll talk about that later, but amazing stuff. Anyway, so record iPad sales. They're expecting that right out of the gate, 3 million iPads. Boom, sold like that. Last year they had, what was it, 15.4, or was it 55? I can't. Anyway. They had a few million iPad 2 sold, and of course they're ready. They're expecting to break those numbers 55 million iPads. They're expecting to break those numbers sometime in the next 3 to 6 months. And of course, Christmas time will probably be the explosion of iPad 3s. But then again, they might find that, if they wait a couple months, they just give their sweetie a little gift card saying, I'll buy you an iPad when the next iPad comes out. I think that's what I would do for Christmas. Is like, okay, I'll give you a little IOU note, and then I'll just buy you the next generation iPad, 4th generation iPad. Now, really quick, just so you guys know, it's the 3rd generation iPad, and we're on the 5th generation iPhone. So that means when the next iPhone comes out, technically it will be iPhone 6. So let's stop saying iPhone 5. Let's start saying iPhone 6. Get it in there. 6. That's a 6. It really is. Anyway, if you want to read more on that, go over to WashingtonPost.com. And of course, the heat issues, like I said, we're going to go over to Geeky Gadgets about that. There have been some real complaints about these heat issues. Apple has noted, and they have come out with a statement. They said, the new iPad delivers a stunning Retina display, A5X chip support for 4G LTE, plus 10 hours of battery life, which operating within our thermal specifications. That was Trudy Mueller, who told The Loop. And goes on to say, if customers have concerns, they should contact AppleCare. Now, when should you be concerned about this case and any type of overheating? Let's just say, if you're going to put a case on it, make sure the case has enough vents in it. Like this case right here, which covers the whole back of, pretty much the back of the iPad. I probably wouldn't put that on an iPad 3. I would probably figure out something that has a little bit more vented system into it, and you should be fine. Like I said, 10 to 13 degrees, it just feels a little bit warmer. But if you can't stand the heat, get out of the iPad. No, if you can't stand the heat, put on a thermal case. There's a lot of different cases out there, and I bet you there's going to be a lot more that are going to start developing heat-sensitive, heat dispersion cases, so you don't feel like your hands are burning off. But once again, like I said, it's perfect for the people with arthritis. So maybe they decided to make the 3rd generation iPad for senior citizens geared towards them. Anyway, you make that decision. Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, the email is geekazine@gmail.com. And if you think I just reamed on some senior citizens, you've never had arthritis in your hands. I have arthritis in my hands, and I play guitar on the iPad, but I still play guitar. Actually, I play regular guitar too, so you should hear me sometime. Let's move on from there, and I'm going to slow down, just take a breath. Find my Zen, because I'm going to tell you somebody else that's trying to find their Zen. HP is trying to find their Zen, and how do they do that? A little bit of reorganization. Over at All Things D, they're talking about how Hewlett-Packard, Meg Whitman, pretty much threw down the axe and says, we're reorganizing. Reorganizing, that's how you say that, reorganizing. So the plan, which was Vyomesh Vijay Joshi, I hope I pronounced that right, he decided, okay, printers, PCs, let's put them together. And I bet you this is the first time that the printers talked to the PCs without a problem. And I know that was a little bit jab of HP, and I have a lot of friends at HP, and I apologize for that. But the bottom line is this. You try to talk to the PC group, and then you try to talk to the printer group. It's a whole different group. It might as well be just 2 different companies. And it's crazy. But now that they're merging together, then maybe we can see a little bit more, and we'll get a little bit more unity in HP land. Of course, the server area and the PC area are going to be still 2 separate entities. A fellow podcaster, I don't know if I should say it. Yeah, fellow podcaster Buana. Yeah, if you've ever checked out his stuff over at buana.tv and buana.org, he actually works for HP himself. So, and I think he works in the printer department, so he's probably getting into the reorganization. So we might hear a little bit more from him. He tries to keep his podcast separate from his work, but he does mention from time to time he works for HP, so I don't think that's going to be a big problem. And if it is, let me know, Buana, and I'll just bleep out that part. Anyway, if you want to read more on this, go over to allthingsd.com. Windows 8 is launching very, very soon. Now, if you're not exactly sure what the heck's going on, Windows 8 is going to look a little bit more like a tablet which will look more like a desktop. They're just going to merge everything together and say, this is one operating system. But they're a little bit concerned about the ARM chips, not this ARM chip and not this ARM chip, but the ARM chips, which is a type of processor. Now, they're going to come out with 8 tablets based on ARM and x86 x64 chips. Very few ARM-based tablets, and I think they're just going to phase them out. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to try and phase them out and go with just the x86 x64 chips. But we'll see what happens, because they're this is all new territory for Windows. And of course, it's 10 years after the Windows Tablet initiative that Bill Gates put out, which I talk about in the Day in Tech History. I actually think that's coming either yesterday or today or something like that. So now, 10 years later, we're finally getting tablets for Windows. And of course, it takes this tablet right here to make that tablet for Windows. So we'll see what happens. Of course, it's slated to come out a little bit later this year. I still have to download the Windows 8. I think what I'm going to do is I have this drive right here. This is the SSD drive from OWC. And I've been meaning to try and figure out how I'm going to work that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to hook it up to my Mac through a FireWire connection, so it'll be external. I'll put on not only Windows 8, but also I can get the newest version, the Mountain Lion of Mac. So I can actually still use my Mac, and I can have these as separate drives. So it'll be kind of cool. We'll see what happens, and of course I'll report on it. In the meantime, PCWorld.com for that article. We're moving on. We're going back over to All Things D. It's my favorite website of the day, I suppose. New York Times has said, hey, we're going to take this paywall and we're going to make it bigger. Great Wall of China bigger, right? Anyway, New York Times has basically said, hey, we are going to 50% more of our content is going to go behind this paywall. Now, if you remember a year or two ago, they decided we're putting up a paywall. You can get to like the first paragraph of content, or you'll be able to read the article once. But if you try and go back to the article or try to go to another article onto New York Times, then it'll basically say, hey, you should get a subscription. So with that said, my phone's going up. With that said, the paywall is going up, and of course it's going to be harder to get onto New York Times pages, which I think is a really sad thing, and I just won't link to too many New York Times articles. So what do you think? Will you pay for New York Times? Do you think that this paywall is a good thing, or you think that it's just they're trying to get more money out of you? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Let's move from there. Microsoft is talking about building a browser for your past. They got a prototype software called Life Browser, and I think they kind of saw what Facebook was doing, making the scrapbooks or the family albums, I guess you could say, for Facebook. And Microsoft said, well, we could probably write an algorithm that could then find pictures or maybe even do some face detection out on the internet. So all of a sudden, there's a picture of me 3 years old, and I don't even know that it's out on the internet. Next thing you know, I'm getting an email or something like that says, hey, there's this picture right there. And we think that it's you. Is this you? And you look at it and you go, oh my God, Becky, look at that butt. Anyway, so it's actually pretty cool. So basically what it's going to do is you got on the internet I got on the internet in 1994, 1995, somewhere around there. You might have got on the internet 2002, 2003. That's about the average, somewhere between 1999 and 2003. That's when a lot of people jumped onto this thing called the interweb. Before that time, there's a lot of question. So what do? Well, you can rebuild that information with other information. Find a piece here, and then put that all together. We can rebuild it. We have the technology. Let's make it happen. And that's what Microsoft is doing. Really cool article. Check that out over here. Of course, Google is doing it. Facebook is doing it. So why not Microsoft? Get on the bandwagon. Get your web genealogy going and go from there. But this is over at Technology Review, so check that out over there. All right, finally, Imagine your phone being attached to you more than you would ever expect through a tattoo. You're saying, huh? But it's true. This is over at BBC.com. This is called a vibrating tattoo. And basically, what it is, they have this material called ferromagnetic material. And you put it onto your skin, paint it, and then you pair it with a mobile device. So I don't know if you could actually get it as a tattoo or something like that, and you pair it with a mobile device. Then you can just kind of do near field communication type thing. You just touch it and it pairs up. So you could I wouldn't be surprised if there was a program down the road that said if you were more than 1 mile away from your phone, that alarms would go off, something like that. And of course, maybe you could have like little monitors and it say, yeah, your heartbeat is 85 beats per minute and your blood pressure is kind of high, so take your dang pills. I don't know, but it's really cool. It's really cool. Would you get yourself? This brings a question. Would you get yourself a tattoo if you knew that tattoo would pair to your phone? And of course, throughout time, you would have to pair to your next phone and your next phone and your next phone. But would you get a tattoo so your phone could pair to it, so you could have all those cool little features? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, the email is geekazine@gmail.com. That does it for the news section of things. We're going to get you over to the geek side, but we're going to do this first. And you're watching Geekazine at Geek Smack over at geekazine.com. Stop dreaming, start streaming. That's what the Roku's all about. You can get yourself a Roku over-the-top television system for $49.99. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to tell you something I never thought I'd say, and that is I'm uncutting my cable. Why am I uncutting my cable? Because I got a call the other day saying that, hey, we can give you cable. You got the internet. You got the high-end internet. For $2 more, we'll give you cable. And we'll do that for a year. And I said, hey, I can't go wrong there. So, but does that change my thought about over-the-top television? No, not one bit. What it will do is give me a chance to watch The Walking Dead, a chance to watch some of the TV shows that I've really wanted to see that I couldn't see because it's not on over-the-top television. But I know in the next 4 or 5 years, cable, over-the-top television, we're going to be one. And that's where Roku comes in. It's an over-the-top television system, lets you watch shows, your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon Instant Prime videos, your tech podcast stuff, your Blueberry stuff, your Twit, your Revision 3, Coldcast. They've even got questionable channels for those of you who like, fun adult material. Professional Wrestling has its own channel on Roku. Pandora has its own channel on Roku. So you can do a whole ton of stuff and cut your cable and do it. Prices are as low as $49.99. And of course, you can get yourself, it becomes a nice little game system. For the $100, you can get yourself Angry Birds, you can get yourself Galaga and Pac-Man. And of course, you get a little card reader in back so you can actually store some of the files, store some pictures on it through the USB drive. And of course, they have internet options that you can choose from. So there's so many reasons to get yourself a Roku, but the $49.99 price is just the best reason. So, number one box of fun, America's number one box of fun. Stop dreaming, start streaming. It's over at Roku.com.
Geek Smack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the geek side of Geek Smack over at Geekazine.com, thegeeksmack.com, wherever you want to go. We've got some great geek stuff for you, and we're going to do it right now. We're going to start over at the Huffington Post. Check this out. They've got this really cool thing from Tumblr. Somebody said, hey, what happens when I throw certain things in the microwave? We've all done it before. We put something in the microwave and go, oh, wow, that's so cool how that did that. They gave you before and after pictures. Like, for instance, this is Candy Hearts right here. This is the before picture, and that's the after picture. They got bananas. There's the flip over. The bananas, before, after. So on and so forth. Can't show you too much, of course. Will be, copyright, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, So you can check that out. A whole bunch of stuff. This is over at Huffington Post. So check that out. Really cool. What happens to my... And then, of course, don't put your dog in the microwave. But you can, try different foods and see what happens. It's kind of cool. Kind of. Anyway, going from there, we go over to Neat-O-Rama. And, of course, we know that the Titanic, 100 years ago, the Titanic sunk. It was on April 15th, tax day of 1912. And so what they decided to do was recreate the Titanic through Twitter. So basically what they're doing is people are creating these accounts. And like, for instance, the captain of the Titanic has got an account. I think it's called Titanic Voyage is the name of the official Twitter account. And so the first tweet, of course, today marks the originally scheduled launch day of the ship. Sea trials still go, but confident the launch of the 10th of April. So you'll see tweets from Titanic Voyage as if they just launched the ship up until the iceberg. So they've got that all mapped out. They know exactly what time the iceberg hits. And so at that time, you'll watch your Twitter, and all of a sudden you'll see, iceberg dead ahead, we just hit an iceberg, and then all heck breaks loose on April 15th. So pretty cool stuff. You can check that out over at Neat-O-Rama. Of course, once again, Titanic Voyage is the Twitter handle. Let's go over to Geekaloogie, our favorite website. Maybe not totally our favorite, but somewhat of our favorite. Because where else can you see life-size scale TIE fighters that you can sit in? Well, it's not life-size. It's actually 1/3 the scale of a TIE fighter. And it's for sale. It is for sale. It's up on Craigslist. If you live in the Seattle area, Chris Perillo. If you live in the Seattle area, it's a good wedding gift. Seattle area. It's perfect to hide from Darth Vader. Of course, this looks like the Darth Vader TIE fighter. I think. No. The Darth Vader TIE fighter had the broken-in wings, the wings that looked like this. And, of course, it went... But anyway, you can check that out over at geekaloogie.com. Well, you got yourself an iPad, and, you got the Wi-Fi 16 gig model. You only paid the $399 for the iPad 2. But the $15,000 iPad case, that was all worth it. And this is over at Gizmo. This is a laptop sleeve. It costs 10,000 times the price of the MacBook Pro. 10,000 times $500. You do the math. Anyway, it's diamond encrusted. It's got a mink around the front there. And, of course, it's definitely pretty expensive. So if you want to check that out, go over to gizmo.com. Speaking of which, did you go to St. Patrick's Day? Did you drink a lot of green beer? Hopefully you did. Maybe you didn't. I didn't drink any green beer. I just drank beer. Because why does it need to be green? Did you know Coke is supposed to be green, but then they put in a flavoring and it turns the brown color it is? At least that's some useless knowledge that I knew from a long time ago. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, last part of the Geek Smack, then we'll get you on the feature. Think of a truck on a truck on a truck. You're going, what on a what on a what? A truck on a truck on a truck. That's what this guy did. He did this on purpose. He took a truck and he put a truck on top of it, and then he put another truck on top of it. It's pretty cool. And of course, Huffington Post says, keep on trucking. But apparently he got a ticket for putting a truck on a truck on a truck, even though it's probably secured so it doesn't fall off. But, you never know. Top heavy, it falls over, whatever. Somebody gets hurt, whatever. But it's a truck on a truck. And this is a picture over at Huffington Post. So check that out. If you want to get yourself a truck on a truck on a truck, you got to talk to this guy because he knows how to put a truck on a truck on a truck. I just like to say it, truck on a truck on a truck. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that is your part. That's the other half of the geek section of Geek Smack. And we're going to get you into the featured session. And I'm going to tell you something. This is just inspiring. And let me find it here really quick. And, of course, we're going to do that now. And we'll be right back. Gotta find my right thing here. Let's see. Oh yeah. If you listen to the audio over there it is. If you listen to the audio version of Geek Smack, you know that a program for your mobile device, whether your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, your BlackBerry, your WebOS, is important. That's why you have Stitcher Internet Radio. The best part about Stitcher Internet Radio that no other podcatchers seem to get is once a podcast is done playing, it goes to the next podcast in a line. So I don't have to search for another show to listen to. I can set up a bunch of favorites and then listen to the favorites. So when iPad 365 is done, the Day in Tech History starts. When the Day in Tech History is done, Geek Smack starts, and I'm listening to all my shows. Of course, I can listen to a lot of other shows too. Todd Cochran's Geek News Central. Of course, we got the Caffeination podcast. We got Totally Cool Tech. We've got Twit audio on there. It's a great program, but you can put it onto your smartphone. Like I said, it's for Android, it's for iOS devices, BlackBerry and WebOS devices, and iPad. But if you download it, you can win yourself $100. They draw every single month. All you have to do is go over to Stitcher.com/geek, Stitcher.com/geek, enter in your email address, download the application. And of course, I think every month, if you just delete the application and then re-enter your email address and download the application, you're in the drawing for another $100. Can't go wrong there. That's over at Stitcher.com, Stitcher Internet Radio, Stitcher.com/geek. Get onto that bandwagon so you can get all of my cool content at Stitcher.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is we're running fast, and I wanted to do this because I'm just pretty much dead. I almost didn't do this show because I've been so melancholy in the last 48 hours. It's been crazy. I just want to relax, and I can't because I got work to do. I got things to do. I got people to see. I got places to visit. I got meat to fry up in the grill because it's freaking 80 degrees, and of course now I'm starting to sweat a little bit because I closed all the windows so I could do this show. But anyway, check this out. This is the coolest thing. If you ever feel that you cannot do something, if you think that life has turned the wrong corner, you should watch this video. And at first I thought this video was a hoax. I will not kid you on this. I thought that somebody was doing this deliberately. I was really upset about it, but as I was watching, I realized this is not a hoax. This is an actual kid. His name is Christopher. And I'm going to show you a little bit of this video. I don't know what he has specifically, but he basically is in a wheelchair, and he does more in a day than most of us do in a whole week. He has IT certification. He's getting more certifications. He builds websites. He produces the video, including this video. The only time that he needs help is when he talks to his dad and says, "Hey, Dad, I need you to put the text up here." Because they're going to show, this is all subtitled because as you listen, he cannot really form words as well as you or I. So he's a little bit harder to understand, so his dad subtitled it. It's amazing what this kid has done. And I saw this. This is something, actually, Chris Perillo posted it, and I watched it, and I thought to myself, wow, this is amazing. I've worked with kids with disabilities. The AARP, Youth AARP. My oldest brother, he was a member of AARP. I didn't really join the youth association, but I've had many people that I've talked to and worked with that have had mental and physical disabilities. And it's just amazing. You watch this 6 minutes of your time, you need to stop and watch this. You don't put it on the corner and start working. You watch. You see the dedication this kid does, and then you realize what you do. And you realize you have full functionality of your arms and hands. You can talk without problem. Your head doesn't shake randomly. Maybe it does, but for the most part, and most of us have full functionality of our bodies. And here's a kid that doesn't. And he does more in a day than a lot of us do in 8 hours worth of work. It's going to change your mind, I think. And he tells it in his own words, and it's amazing. It's a remarkable video. I put it into my bookmarks because whenever I need a moment down, I'll tell you something. The last couple days, I've had some down moments in my life. Things are not roses here at Geekazine, but I still go because I know I have a goal in mind, and I know what to do. I still have this inner ear thing where I feel a little bit woozy. I got to stop working for a little while and just kind of relax a little bit. He has it tenfold or more, and he just keeps going. So I'm definitely putting this into my bookmarks, and I'm watching this again and again and again. Highly suggest you do the same thing. Amazing video. I cannot speak any higher of this video. So this better get 2 million page views, if not 2 billion views, because this is just inspiring, period. Anyway, did you watch it? What do you think? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Geekazine@gmail.com. Of course, the hotline is still 608-205-4378. You can call it at any time. Let me know what you think about the show, what you don't think about the show, what you think about that video, or any of the articles that I talked about this week on the Geek Smack. That does it for the Geek Smack, or Smark. Do you have a Geek Smark? Maybe a Geek Smuck? Maybe a Geek Smirk? Anyway, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Once again, Twitter handle down here, Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. We will be back next week when we'll do another episode number 220. We're getting close to 300, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So thanks a lot for watching. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We'll see you in 7 days. You guys geek out, and until then, watch a lot of cool stuff, and let me know what you're doing, because we're going to do a lot of stuff over at Geekazine. Take care.